Hello everybody, it's Ezra Time again here. Welcome back to another movie review, and today we are going to be reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's. Finally after 8 years the movie is finally here. This is gonna be a non-spoiler review, because the movie hasn't been released until 2 days later, right? And I plan to do a spoiler review once the movie came out, maybe on next week. Maybe we'll see, but for now, it's gonna be a non-spoiler review, so I'm gonna tell you guys what I like about the movie and what I didn't like about this movie. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this movie is not great. There is a lot of flaws in this movie. But at the same time, there is some things that I could definitely praise for the movie itself. So for the most obvious part that I like about the movie is obviously the animatronics. That was done by Jim Henson Creature Shop. Seeing this animatronic on the big screen and actually controlled by a bunch of puppeteers, then you can actually feel that, yeah, this is a real animatronic. They're actually there, and there is some scene probably where some people are wearing a suit, but for the most part, it's actually just an actual animatronic that was made by Jim Henson Creature Shop, and I really like every single time the animatronic appears on the screen because it looks so good. It looks so real because I mean they are real and they're not using a full-on CGI, which thank God, because I feel like that's really saving the movie for me. Because if they use a CGI, like a full-on CGI or VFX on the animatronic, then I think this movie is not gonna be as good, but because that the animatronic is actually there, they're actually interacting with some of the characters from the movie, it really elevates the fact that this is like a real thing that happens, and I really like that. So great job by Jim Henson Creature Shop there. The practical effect on the animatronic is amazing. And the other part that I like about the movie as well is actually the acting or the performance. I think Josh Hutcherson as Mike Smith is amazing, because he's really good at playing this distant and brooding and kind of scary brothers in a way, and he portrays that emotion really well in the movie, that you really kind of like sympathize with him, because they do reveal like some backstory for Mike in the movie that I was like, okay, that actually worked for the characters, because there is probably some scene in the beginning that you actually think that, wait, that doesn't make any sense, and it might be funny to some people, but I feel like they explain that in the movie or like in the plot really well, why Mike is acting this way throughout the movie, and then you kind of like sympathize with him by the end of it, so it's like, yeah, it's a great job by Josh Hutcherson, really captivating performance in my opinion. We also got Elizabeth Lail as Vanessa, which I think that's a good job, playing Officer Vanessa in a way, obviously a character from Security Breach in some way you could say that. I guess just the name you could say that, and also the hair, yellow hair. Like, yeah, she gave a good performance in the movie. There is some mystery to her character, which again I'm not gonna spoil that, but I feel like the mystery for her character, I think it works, for the plot itself. I might have to rewatch the movie again to see if it actually works, but when I was first watching it, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, for me. And yeah, good job on that as well. And you also got Piper Rubio as Abby. I think also put a decent enough performance, because sometimes when you have a kid actor, sometimes that they either nail it or or it's gonna be annoying, and Piper Rubio, safe to say, she's actually nailing the performance of Abby, that you understand. There's also the mystery for her character as well, that was related to Mike as well. And I thought it was like, oh, this is another cool inclusion for the plot for this movie, like I feel like that works and that feels like Five Nights at Freddy's. So great job on that as well. And of course, Matthew Lillard in this movie is also great, for the amount of screen time that he has. It's actually pretty amazing, like he actually delivers some good enough performance, and hopefully we get to see more of him in the future, because I heard the news that he has signed 3-picture deal for Universal for this movie, so we obviously gonna get a trilogy for this movie, which is gonna be exciting, because I want to see more of Matthew Lillard in the future movies, because the amount of time that he has in this movie, I think he does a great job, in my opinion at least. Emma Tammy, the new director for Five Nights at Freddy's, and I do think Emma Tammy does a great job for directing the movie, because I think there is some shot that actually works, Yeah, and sure, maybe it's not like the coolest directing ever, like there isn't many like cool shot in the movie, but I feel like the shot is enough to establish what actually happened in the movie, and I think Emma Tammy does a great job on directing that, At least this is like the second movie for her. I think I don't remember what the first movie that she directed, but I think this is the second movie, and it's Five Nights at Freddy's, which is like, whoa, okay. And I was a little bit worried because like it's a brand new director. Is she able to at least make a good movie, But in my opinion, she does a good job, as a director, and hopefully she can return in the future. But there are part of me that kind of wish that they hire, I guess another director that actually more experienced, because they previously hired Chris Columbus to direct this movie, and I'm kind of wondering if this movie is actually directed by Chris Columbus, then it's like is it gonna be better than this or is it gonna be worse? Like that's my question either way. Because Chris Columbus is a good director, right, and has experience clearly. And while Emma Tammy, even though as a new director, I think she does a pretty good job, So yeah, there's that, and of course the score by the Newton Brothers. That is not exactly a memorable, like many memorable score in the movie, but I do like the opening credits song, by the Newton Brothers. I think it was pretty good, And of course, speaking of the opening credits, they actually made a reference to like the mini game to Final Fantasy Freddy's, and I was like, whoa, okay, that was amazing way to open the movie. The opening credits is actually amazing in my opinion because the movie starts strong in my opinion. Then I was like, okay, I'm hooked. I want to see the rest of this movie. And obviously you cut to the opening credits, and I was like, oh, okay, wow, they're actually doing this in the movie. That was amazing. That was so Five Nights at Freddy's, and I love that so much. And one last thing, guys, one last positive thing that I would say about this movie is that here it is. Five Nights at Freddy's. Is this where you wanna be? I just don't get it. Why do you want to stay Five Nights at Freddy's? Yep, that was amazing. Fantastic. I was vibing so much, because the rest of the theaters is not that full because it was on Wednesday, so there's not a lot of people watching the movie, but there is some people who watch the movie in the theaters, and as all I can tell, guys, they're actually the same age as me, so it's like we all just having this big nostalgia watching this movie back in 2014 because this is part of our childhood, and then we've been waiting for this movie for 8 years, so it's finally here. But besides that, that is some major criticism that I had about this movie, because I have mixed feelings about the movie. I'm being honest here, because here's the thing: while I enjoy some of the aspect of this movie, I actually think that this movie didn't do enough, in my opinion, because if I was expecting a bit more, and it seems like there's several scenes in this movie that I was like, okay, they're actually doing more with the animatronics, and then it didn't. It's like the movie kind of like holds back because of the rating and because of the screen time for the animatronics, because this movie doesn't have enough scares and suspense. If you're expecting to see Final Fantasy Freddy's to be scares and feel the suspense like you did in the classic FNAF game, like you're not gonna get that in this movie, and that was disappointing because I was expecting that as atmospheric feel from the first game in this movie, and I didn't really get that, and it's like disappointing for me because you kind of get there in the opening, but it's like again, it's not really staying for the rest of the movie, and so that's for like the chase scene with the animatronics and the hide and seek with the animatronics, and then the game mechanics that it's just not really there, and it was kind of disappointing, because here's the thing: it was there, like the chase scene, the hide and seek, it was there in the movie, but it's not exactly memorable and it's not exactly suspenseful enough, because they were quick, they were like quick chase scene. There is like one chase scene with Mike, where he was like chased by Foxy, and then the like the way the scene was ended was super terrible. I'm not gonna spoil how it was ended, but man, the way the chase scene was ended in that scene was really, really terrible. That I was like, really? That's how you're gonna end a chase scene? Like, come on, man. I was waiting for this long to see a chase scene or like a hide and seek, a suspenseful scene with the animatronics, and when it was finally starting, it was end pretty quickly, and I was like, oh, okay. Are we gonna get that in the maybe on the next scene? Not really. So that was disappointing. And I was speaking of the game mechanics, like the FNAF 1 game mechanics is not really there. And it was also disappointing, because the game mechanics that Emma Tammy is spoken about is not exactly from the first game, but it's actually from the future FNAF game, not from FNAF 2 or FNAF 3, but the future FNAF games. That I'm not gonna spoil it, but if you've seen the movie by Friday, you're gonna know the game mechanics that Emma Tammy has been speaking about, And I was like, okay, that's a cool inclusion, but at the same time, I was expecting the mechanics from the first game, like locking the door, like like using the light to see where the animatronic was, like using the security camera to see where the animatronic were, because the security cameras was there. But here's the thing, like they're just there. They're never being used as a vital point for the characters that, oh my god, I'm trapped in this pizzeria. There is a security cameras, right? So like I gotta search the security camera for the animatronic, okay, where's Bonnie, where's Chica, where's Freddy, where's Foxy, like I was expecting that in the movie, and I didn't get that, and it was super disappointing, man. Like I really want to see a suspenseful scene where Mike is like using the security footage or like the security camera to check where the animatronic were, and then he used that information to get out of the pizzeria, because I was expecting that to happen, but then again it didn't. And it was disappointing for me that the security camera is just there. It was never vital to the plot or to the characters, because in the game obviously they were really vital to see where the animatronic were, like you gotta watch where Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy was, even though at the end of the day that didn't really matters, because obviously you just need to look out for the lights and the door to see if they were there, because that's where we know now the pro FNAF games, but when you first play the game, let's just be honest, you're gonna be looking for the camera to see what the animatronic were before you were closing the door. And I was expecting that to the in the movie, but that didn't really happen. It's just like, oh, here's the shot from the game, guys, which is really cool. I appreciate that, but it's like, all right, like can we use that more, so it's like, I hope in the sequel, if they're gonna do one, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna do one now, they're gonna make a trilogy. I'm hoping in the sequel they actually use the camera as a vital point for the characters, because you didn't really get that in this movie, and that sucks. And the other thing that I don't like about this movie is like the kills. The kills in this movie are super lame. There's probably one kill that makes me go, oh shit, but it's just like one kill. The rest of them just like, okay, and I feel like Emma Tam is common, like recently she commented, oh, like the reason why we make it PG-13 because obviously she didn't want to like exclude a bunch of kids, that obviously a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, because let's be honest here, the fandom for FNAF is actually a bunch of kids, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but it's also like destroying the FNAF legacy in my opinion, because the game used to be scary, but now it's getting ridiculous and becoming more kids friendly, and I don't really like that direction. And you kind of feel that effects on this movie because again it's PG-13 and the kills is like mostly off screen and is really lame, because like, oh, okay, that's how you're gonna kill the animatronics kill people, like you're not gonna show that much in the screen, like, all right, I mean, that's disappointing, really really disappointing in my opinion, because I feel like if this movie was rated R, they could probably do so much more with the kills, with the gore, with how the animatronic kills people. They actually show that on screen, and there's probably only two kills that where they actually show the deaths on screen. The rest of them just like it just happens off screen, man. It was actually really disappointing, because it felt lazy in my opinion. I think Emma Tammy's comments about like, oh, if we make the movie PG-13, then it will be so much more cooler to see, or like we can do more creative stuff with the kills, like more creative. And I was like, I seen the kills in this movie and they never felt creative or anything like that. It's just like it's an off-screen death and it felt very lazy, and that sucks, because I feel that you could do so much more if this movie was rated R, and we can see so much more gore in the movie. And there is blood in the movie, don't get me wrong, but that's it, just blood, and there is no gore, there's no suspenseful kill, like it's not exactly a cool kill, and again, there's only one cool kill that got me, that really got me, but for the rest of the kills it's just like off screen. And even I forget that, oh, this character is dead. Oh yeah, right, you didn't show that, like it just happened off screen, so it's like, oh yeah, he's dead, I forgot about that, so it's like it was disappointing in my opinion in terms of the kills because of the PG-13 rating, and they're not creative at all. So, and also for the ending of this movie, the way they resolve the conflict is a bit like, all right, I guess for the FNAF fans, then you're probably gonna be okay with it. You're probably gonna be excited to see that. But I feel for me, even as the FNAF fan, I was like, okay, that's kind of like a weird and lame thing to do in my opinion. Because I feel like you could probably do so much more, but I don't know. I have mixed feeling how they handle the final conflict in my opinion, because it was like, oh, that was too easy. Like what the hell, So it's like, all right, but whatever. It's in the movie, So yeah, guys. So that's my review for the movie. I I guess I'm glad that this movie exists, but at the same time, I feel like it's not really worth 8 years of waiting in my opinion, because I feel like sure this movie could have been so much more worse, but I feel like it could have been so much more better at the same time, because again the movie is kind of like holding itself back in my opinion. It's like there could have been a cool chase scene, this could have been a cool suspenseful scene with the animatronics, this could have been a cool hide and seek segment with the animatronics, and they're all technically there, but they're not staying that long, they just like come and go, and it was disappointed that we don't get to live that moment in the movie. They just like happen so quickly, and I was like, damn, I was waiting for this moment to happen, and then it just happened and then move on. So it's like that was disappointing for me. So hopefully in the future they could like create more chasing and actually make us the audience live with the chasing a lot longer and make it more suspenseful instead of just like, oh, here's a chasing and then just over. So it's like, yeah. Either way, that's my review for Five Nights at Freddy's, guys. Cannot wait for the sequel. Obviously, even though I have a mixed feeling about this movie, I still overall enjoyed. I think it's not boring. At least it was quite fun at some point. So there's that. And for the future movie, hopefully they can improve the scares, the suspenseful scene with the animatronics. More chasing, more hide and seek. More games mechanic from the second game. Hopefully with the mask, that should have been easier to do in the movie. Just having a mask with the character that like Mike could be carrying around a mask in the second movie. That would be really cool. But either way, let's just wait and see how they're gonna handle FNAF 2 and possibly FNAF 3, because again, I'm gonna do a spoiler review maybe next week, until people already watch the movie, because there is some spoilery discussion that I want to talk, and obviously my theory for the second movie, how they're gonna handle the second movie. That would be amazing, but so far that's it for my review for Five Nights at Freddy's, guys. So again, mixed feelings, but overall I still enjoyed, so I think I'm gonna give this movie a 6 for now. When I finished watching it, I was giving a 7, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's a 6, like for me at least, But overall, it's not boring. So there's that. So yeah, I guess you guys can let me know in the comment section below. If you guys already watched the movie, what do you guys think about the movie? Do you guys agree with my opinions? Like what do you guys like about the movie, and what do you guys didn't like about the movie? How do you guys feel about the movie? So let me know all that in the comment section below, guys. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this review, then make sure guys hit that like and subscribe button, guys. And again, stay tuned for more reviews in the future. Stay tuned for that spoiler review. Maybe next week we'll see where that's gonna happen. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this movie review, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.